rugged solution. And last year, we showed you how to go quickly from development to production using our flexible hardware platform based on a COM Express Type 6. It's available to fill a variety of project requirements. I went through that in detail. And if you missed any of the other two webinars, they're available on our website. You can download those and get some details and specifics. But today we'll spend some time going through the solution itself. So last year we showed you how to handle this piece. The platform itself, again, is based on CPU, which uses the i7 Haswell processor, conduction cooling. We offered the carriers and full customer configuration control. So after bringing this out, of course, customers asked us, well, what about an enclosed unit? This is all a great product, but we need to put it in a box and get it out to our end application. So what we did was we spent quite a bit of time and energy and engineering expertise and created Acromag's new small form factor mission computer, what we call ARCX. It's an ARC system. I believe it's Acromag Rugged Computer Extreme System. So this new system, ARCX box, or ARCX enclosures as we call them here, it's designed primarily for military, aerospace, and similar extremely rugged applications. Something that requires extensive shock and vibration capability. We've certified the box to a MIL-810G method 516.6. The unit is IP67 sealed, so it's submersible actually to about 1 meter of water. And it is CE and FCC approved, the unit itself. It's suitable for new projects as well as upgrades or retrofits. So it has a small footprint, much smaller than traditional card cage solutions. This is where we say as an upgrade, you may want to remove a complete card cage VME type system or a compact PCI system and gain some weight and space and improve your swap capability. Less power consumption, has a built-in DC power supply in the box itself and can be configured using industry standard components. As we get into this, you'll see PMC, XMC capability, also mini PCIe or mSATA expansion capability. The units come with our 2-year warranty, which is available on any of Acromag's embedded products. And it's designed right here in Wixom, Michigan, and manufactured here in the USA. So we'll take a look at the single site. It's ARCX 410. Again, it's an i7-based processor. They come with 16 gig of RAM in all of them. So you're ready to rock and roll from day one. If you look inside the unit, there are several screws. And in the manual, it explains this, but in the front panel, some on the bottom and top, it tells you which screws to remove. Then the unit can be slid out, as you can see here, with the front panel intact, onto the carrier and the internal unit itself. So if we take that, and now taking a look at the top view after we pull this forward, now you can see what's inside the box here. We have the mini PCIe or mSATA sites. There are 2 of them in each of the ARCX boxes, whether it's a single or dual, comes with the 2 mini PCIe sites. And if you look at the XMC PMC expansion site, you can see here we've accommodated all the conduction cooling that's required for whatever board you're going to place in here. And with regard to XMC or PMCs, we've adhered very closely to the standards for either of the interfaces. So provided you meet those specifications or whatever product you want to put in there, if it happens to not be an Acromag product, should be compatible. Okay, we have a JTAG site over here. We have this 2 SATA cable connections over on here and SATA power, and we'll get into that a little bit later as we get to some of the other options available on the box. There's an 8-position dip switch, and again, this is all in the manual, and I'll show you how to get that, download that's very easy. But it outlines the JTAG, serial port configuration, mini PCIe, and then the serial port speed configuration. It's all available here on the 8-position switch. Okay, on the outside, on the front panel, we've got a couple of LEDs, power, and then status if the box is running, of course. Take a look at the bottom view. If we just turn this over, you can see here where we've got the actual processor itself. And again, extensive conduction cooling. This is all designed, and again, we talked about this in great detail on some of the previous webinars. So if you're interested in seeing what we're doing here, go ahead and grab those and download those off the website. But basically, on the bottom view, you've got everything coming out from the processor. Your power supply is located on the bottom side, and again, it's a DC power. Requirements are 10 to 36 volts, I believe, DC coming into the box. And also here you'll see on the single site we have a 500-pin C-Ray connector. This is the main interface coming off the carrier card that goes into the front panel, and I'll get into the specifics with regard to how we bring all that information out and how it interfaces. Take a look at the dual 4120 ARCX box, very similar, except it's got an extra site. So we've got the same situation where we remove the screws, slide the unit out, and now you're looking at basically a duplicate of the single. And we've got a second PMC XMC site with, of course, the requirements that we had on the initial. We've got SATA 1 on SATA 2 power interface, same switch. And we've got an additional, let's look at the bottom view. You can see here how we've expanded on the carrier itself. We've added another 200-pin C-Ray connector to bring all the I/O out to this third 38999 on the front panel. So duplicate of the single, got a little bit more room there for the second site. What we do in terms of the 38999 interconnects is, if you look at the unit, the front face, you've got a number 12 power, 38999 input power, 10 to 36 volts, I mentioned earlier. And then on the first, we'll call keyed as A, you've got the initial PMC XMC site, which is in that 4810 unit. So this is brought out to the front, and again keyed as A. The CPU will always be keyed as B. So all the I/O and controls from the CPU board itself that are brought out are located here. And then on the second 4820, where you have the second slot for PMC XMC expansion, this is keyed as C. So all the rear I/O that's available on the PMC XMC expansion capability is brought out to the front 38999s here. Okay, so if we take a quick look at the CPU interface, what we bring out as standard interconnects, again, on the keyed connector B, you'll see that you've got a VGA port and you've got two HDMI or DVI ports. You've got your audio, so you have a speaker and a mic in and a speaker, of course, output. 2 gig Ethernet ports, serial, you got one SATA port, 3 USB 2.0 ports, and a couple of serial ports, either 232 or 485. And again, those are all on that keyed B connector. Okay, for those of you who maybe have a little bit broader application, or you want to use the unit itself but have a specific goal in mind that requires either some front I/O on your PMC XMC or the board itself. Some of the soft radio applications, some of the interfaces have extensive interconnects that are designed to go on what we call the front of the PMC XMC. We also have that in our AXM modules, you can see here, that mounts on the front of the PMC XMC. What we've done to accommodate this is we've machined, well, semi-machined, we call it. It's like a half-depth cutout that fits and matches the standards for PMC XMC. So if you need to mount these and put them into the unit itself, of course, you'd have one cutout for the 4610, and as you can see here on the 4620, you have two cutouts. So it's just a simple matter of having, either you can have that requested from us ahead of time when you place your order, and we'll know to take that out for you. We can fully machine this out. Or you can do it at your site. You know, if maybe initial use of the box, the system doesn't require this, and at some point you need to do a field upgrade, simply have to remove the screws on the back, have this machine, and then reinstall it. One of the things that we've come out with this year, just recently released, is the ARCS enclosure with removable storage. As you notice on the inside, we can accommodate the mSATA, and you have mini PCIe. There's a variety of small interface cards that can mount internally to the box and provide storage for you, and you can access that storage via cables through the 38999. What we've had several requests from many military, defense, aerospace type applications where they need quick removal of storage. They typically will bring a vehicle in, or like a hot swap type pit stop, and want that data storage device pulled out, and then reinstall some blank ones, and then send the unit back out to do more data acquisition or whatever the application is. So what we did was we created an addition to the unit, and also you recognize where I pointed out the SATA 1 and SATA 2 interconnects on the carrier card. Those are there to accommodate via lockable cables SSD devices that I'll show you here in just a second. We can take a 2.5 by 9 millimeter SSD device, so you can put a couple terabytes of data storage capability. And again, it's available for the single or double wide, and it gives you external access for quick removal. So if you take a look at what we've done, we've actually modified the top plate panel, and we have a housing that, again, is IP67. We maintain the IP67 sealing capability, even though we've added these two storage devices. So you have a plate that's on here with three simple thumb screws. It is gasketed and sealed. Once that's removed, now you have access to the front panel here, which you can lock. It is lockable, but these mechanical trays, there's two trays that slide in and out via the levers here. And once they're pulled out, the SSD device is mounted firmly, screwed down to the tray. So extra trays are available. And like I said, if you have a set of 4 or 6 or whatever storage devices that you need to just swap, it's just a matter of a few seconds to get the units, get the filled ones out and put some new ones in and reset it. One extra addition is RAID 0 or RAID 1 are supported on this through the unit, and like I said, we still maintain the IP67, even though you're picking up, you know, the potential of 2 terabytes of storage capability. The units, as we configure them, are without devices, because it seems like no matter which one we pick, someone will want something different. So we've made that available, and again, it's a standard interface, and the pinouts and all this information is available inside the manual. Some of the specifications on the box, we have, the size of a single wide is just over 3 inches by 8 inches. You get a double wide that's almost 8 inches square and about 3 inches high. The weight of the units are, 6.8 for a single, again, and 9.1 for a dual. These do not take into account, and these are the ones without the SSD enclosure, and these weights do not include any PMC or XMC boards installed in them. So, but this will give you, if you're doing the system calculation for weight, a lot of, like I said, aerospace applications, you'll need to know that. Shock and vibe, we've got, like I said, method 516.6. Vibration, we've got the details here on this. If you need to go any further than that, feel free to contact us. And the power, again, it is DC, and it is fused, it's on board, so there's no, just as long as the 10 to 36 volts that you supply us is clean, you shouldn't have any problems. If you don't have clean 10 to 36 volts, we've got an option for you. Additional specifications, we've got some basic processor power consumption. Again, this is i7 only, in 16 gig of RAM. At idle, you're running about 20 watts, what we call pass mark, which is about half throttles, 45 watts, and full bore, we ran it up to about 70 watts. The optimal temperature range of the unit itself, we're saying, is about -40 C to +70 C ambient air. Now, what's important to understand is that since we have no control over the end application, we're giving you this information so that you can maintain these levels in order for the box to perform optimally. What I'm saying here, at -40 to +70, you're going to need some, probably 200 to 300 linear feet per minute of airflow passing across the bottom of the enclosure itself, which is where all the conduction cooled rails are tied to the outer edges of the box itself. So the bottom surface is the key. We bring everything down through that, through the conduction cool rails. Not only on, starts from the spreader, moves on out to the heat sinks, and then out to the side rails, through the carrier, and again, down to the bottom of the box. Another temperature variable that you can monitor in order for the box to run optimally is if you're using a cold plate and you've got some type of thermocouple that you can, or a temperature sensor, you're looking at 0 to 30 degrees C on your temp range for your cold plate. And then the unit itself, of course, or you can monitor, one of the other capabilities is to monitor the CPU temperature itself. There is a pin on the CPU on that keyed B38999 connector that you can monitor the temperature of the i7 itself right from inside the chip, and you want to keep that to 100 degrees C or less. Storage temperature -50 to +85. So looking at some of the accessories, again, we've had a tremendous learning curve when we first brought this out at the beginning of last year. One of the features that when you go into the military aerospace environment is it's nice that we had 10 to 36 volts DC. Most people like that, but they couldn't ensure that it was a clean power supply. So we said, all right, let's help you out there. So we designed based on a Syncor filter. It's actually a mill grade, and the specifications are, the part numbers here, the specifications are here. This is designed to meet several military power standards, and it actually fastens onto the back of the front panel. So what happens is your input power comes in through the connector, goes directly to the filter via the front panel, and then is brought back into the unit itself. So nothing goes into that box before passing through the filter. Another accessory that we just released, and there are several companies that make units that will custom make liquid or air-cooled type cold plates. We just decided that we would create our own. It has a bolt pattern that will accommodate either the single wide or the double wide, and it puts the coolant flowing directly where it needs to be on the bottom, right across the bottom of that enclosure where I was just talking about, where all the heat transfer is done. So this is available. It provides just a consistent heat extraction for the, like I said, the single or the double wide, and then coolant options are up to you, up to the end application, the end user. It can be a glycol water solution or jet fuel, or whatever you want to use there. We also have what we call an octopus cable, but actually it'd be almost a double octopus. It's got, I think it's 13 connectors. This goes into the keyed B 38999. This is your CPU peripheral I/O breakout cable. It has, if you want to do debugging with the box itself, again, if you take a look at, if you haven't seen the webinar on the COM Express Type 6 platform that we released in the development stage, if you're not using our engineering design kit on a chassis and a plate, and you're just using the box, you need to do some interfacing to the box. That's what this cable is excellent for. It breaks out your digital displays, a VGA, you've got USB ports, COM ports, a SATA access, some Ethernet, and then your audio. So this gives you that capability to either maybe make some quick programming changes, or just do some debug or some interfacing, or whatever the end application requirements are. Also have a general purpose, again, when you bring out a box, if you have cables on there or connections onto the box, typically people say, where's the other end so I can make a cable? So we provided this. That's a basic power cable. It's for the number 12 DC input, and it comes with a reset switch and 2 leads. So you can use this to tie in. What we have is customers will tie in like a banana plug on this end and use it in a lab environment, plug it into a precision power supply. But that's available also. Now let's talk just briefly, as we're getting to the close here, I want to talk a little bit about some sample applications from what we've seen and heard from what customers would be willing to tell us. We've got a couple of units out on some submarines. They're being used for some auxiliary controls on the sub. We've got a couple customers actually that one is using, and others are considering putting a 1553 interface card into a dual site box, and then using it as a portable data acquisition system in aircraft applications. What this provides them with is, on a double wide, this of course is a single, but on a double wide, if you have the 1553 interface installed in the box, now you've got a data acquisition unit that can accommodate either on that second PMC XMC site, you can add an analog card, a digital card, maybe an FPGA, maybe an additional high-speed graphics acquisition card, some other methodology. But the unit itself, the double wide with the 1553, now makes it a more specific general purpose data acquisition system for some of these tier 1 defense contractors. So it gives them a COTS type based solution that is semi-tailored to most of their applications, and then they can fine-tune it. But again, it's reducing their front-end engineering to come up with a solution to put into a variety of different applications, even going from aero, MIL-AERO applications to vehicle applications. So there's a broad spectrum of what we're providing here and a lot of capability for the customer to be able to tailor it, again, from a general purpose box that will live and breathe in most of their environments to specific applications. Like I mentioned, we've got, and we also have one that's put the CAN bus interface in there, using it for multi-sensor monitoring on mobile applications. So, in summary, like I said, we've got a small form factor mission computer with expansion, single wide or double wide, depending on the requirements of your end application. It's designed for extremely rugged military aerospace type applications. We've got, like I said, we've got the shock and vibe and the CE and the FCC approvals on the box. Uses the Acromag COM Express Type 6 platform that we talked about before, but basically you're looking at, Haswell i7 processing capability. So you've got a lot of horsepower in a small box that lives and breathes in a really nasty environment. Two sizes, maximum expansion, minimal swap. True COTS solutions, they are available now. We've got a 2-year warranty on the units. As we've talked about here, again, if we put our boards into that unit, now you've got a full 2-year warranty on a solution that we configure here. And again, it's for those that this is critical, it is designed to manufacture here in the USA. On our website, you can download, of course, we have a brochure, but we also have a complete user's manual. This gives you the pinouts for all the 38999s, a lot of the internal workings of the board configuration, how to open the unit, how to put your board in there, and a lot of other things. So, if you have any questions on what we've talked about today or any questions in general on the product itself, feel free to contact us here at Acromag. And you can just email us at solutions@acromag.com. Of course, you can give us a call on our number there. And again, take a look at our website and see what you need there. We'd be happy to help you out with whatever questions you have, or if you have requirements, need us to help you configure a system, we'd be happy to work with you on that. So appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your week.